Everything has more bite to it in the Big Apple, especially these housewives. Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 real housewives of New York fights.
Look at this. I cut my hand.
Oh my God, what is going on?
I stabbed my hand.
What are you talking about?
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at arguments the women engaged in on the show, so reunion fights aren't eligible.
I don't have that kind of personality, but the big stuff, Ramona, that you did to me, you still haven't owned it. And until you do, we can't get past it. So I'm sorry.
Number 10, Luann de Lesseps versus Carole Radziwill and Heather Thomson.
What, are they on a manhunt? And so what if I had a man in my room? I'm a grown woman. I can decide to do what I want with myself.
If there's one thing to know about the Countess, it's that Luann likes to have a good time, especially when she's on vacation. On a trip to Turks and Caicos, Luann brought a guy back home and allowed him to spend the night.
Don't be uncool. That's not the Heather I know. You're usually really cool.
Heather and Carole didn't know he was there, and Heather in particular was shaken when they found the unknown man in the house the next morning. When they confronted Luann about it, instead of backing down, she told them to not be uncool.
Look, the guy probably drank too much and he fell asleep upstairs, okay? But it's not a big deal.
Okay, whatever.
So be cool. Don't be all, like, uncool. Why?
Her lack of remorse and word choice were particularly savage and hilarious, and "don't be all like uncool" became something of a catchphrase for her.
Even if Ramona said, go and ask Lou, it was a total and utter violation of my privacy. I mean, who knows? I could have been hanging, swinging from the chandelier with the guy on my back.
Number 9, Ramona Singer versus Kristen Taekman.
That's not nice. It's really not nice, okay? That's not.
Oh my God.
It's really not.
The New York ladies will verbally spar for days, but it's rare anything gets physical with them. That changed when Ramona and Kristen got in an altercation on a trip to the Berkshires. While out on the water, Ramona was in a canoe and Kristen came up and splashed her.
Just get out of my face.
Excuse me.
Ramona wasn't having it, since she'd just done her hair and was already on the outs with Kristen, so the splashing made her go blind with rage.
No, you know what? It's not. Just go away. Get out of my face.
She chucked her wine glass at Kristen, which left the other woman with a bloody lip. Ramona didn't have any sympathy for what she did and doubled down on her behavior being justified.
You did it, you bitch, on purpose.
Because she knows you blow dry your
Well, she's a bitch.
I'm the one with the swollen lip.
Number 8, Sonja Morgan versus Aviva Drescher.
So you want to go out with Ramona and pick up guys and bring them home and have sex with them? I mean, at 40 plus years old, to me, it's very immature, Sonja.
On Housewives, girls' trips are the most sacred kinds of journeys. So when Aviva brought her husband on a trip to St. Bart's and wanted to go to dinner with him, Sonja was not happy about it.
How do we connect? How do we connect at 2 in the morning? You know, picking up strange guys and bringing them back to the house. How is there connecting there?
Sonja in particular laid into Aviva about how bringing her husband violated the point of the trip and was like bringing sand to the beach.
You're the biggest double-dealing person I've ever met.
really?
Two-faced.
Oh, really?
Oof, you're the worst.
Wow.
Yeah.
Aviva stood her ground and called out Sonja for hooking up with random men, and that Sonja was on a Girls Gone Wild trip.
You're a great example for your daughter. Ooh. This is a great example for your daughter.
The fight was nasty and is one of the most heated exchanges we've ever seen Sonja engage in to date.
Can I get a return to sender?
You and Ramona were not nice.
Return to sender.
Number 7, Sonja Morgan versus Alex McCord.
I wanted to say to Ramona, I just don't ever want to have Simon, is that your husband's name? Simon in my ear again like that.
The husbands on these shows can bring just as much drama as the wives sometimes, which was exactly the case with Alex and her husband Simon. When Sonja tried to give a speech at a marriage equality rally and Simon interrupted her, it became Sonja's breaking point.
Actually, what was horrible is you hijacking the entire event to make it about you and not about marriage equality. That's what was horrible.
Their conversation started off cordially enough, but when Sonja told Alex that she didn't want Simon to interfere with her again, Alex flipped it back on Sonja, saying that she made the whole rally about herself.
You turned into like a bridezilla.
Excuse me, you were the one who was a bridezilla. No, let's really go over this because I was.
If I ever have your husband in my ear again.
The fight became a back and forth about who was invited to speak and who wasn't. It was ridiculous, considering it was for a good cause, but neither woman handled it well.
You have crossed
the wrong person. Excuse me, out of my house.
It was you.
Number 6, Aviva Drescher versus Carole Radziwill. Carole is the most chill of the New York ladies, but come after her livelihood and it's a different story.
There's no competition. I was really happy for you when you got your book deal. I don't want you to compare your experience with this book with my career. It's like apples and spaceships.
In season 6, Aviva asked Carole, a veteran journalist and celebrated memoirist, about helping her edit her own book. When Carole inquired about how Aviva wrote and asked if she used a ghostwriter to help her since she's not a professional writer, Aviva took great offense and spun it around to accuse Carole of using a ghostwriter.
Word on the street is that you had What Remains ghostwritten by Bill, the big guy from the Atlantic.
Aviva, you don't know what you're talking about.
This was uncalled for and a pretty low blow, considering Carole had spent her whole career as a writer. The fight escalated, with Carole defending her integrity, and Aviva came out looking pretty silly and petty.
Well, you're a liar and a phony. You are such
phony,
don't talk about
phony. You're up here, and I am down here.
Okay.
Number 5, Luann de Lesseps versus Bethenny Frankel.
New boyfriend?
A lot of good stuff. Good things are good. I'm happy.
As two of the cast's OGs, Luann and Bethenny have fights that really come down to who's on top.
Let's go deeper on the hair. So my hair's just like yours. So I want to be just like you.
After they were invited to Dorinda's home in the Berkshires, they made the trip awkward for everyone when they immediately sat down and fought about everything, from Bethenny copying Luann's hair to Luann's promiscuity.
Are you getting laid
and
right
be
now or
another?
not? I mean, what's the problem?
Oh,
She's
she's
You're
good.
making up for all of us.
They both, well, hit below the belt. But Bethenny took it too far when she called Luann a hypocrite and a slut for sleeping with married men and younger men, but not owning up to it.
What married man have I ever slept with? What young 25-year-old have I ever f***ed and give my friend shit about it?
It was de trop, but both women eventually got over it.
You are a slut and a liar and a hypocrite.
Oh, very nice.
And a snake.
Number 4, Bethenny Frankel versus Jill Zarin. Bethenny and Jill started out thick as thieves when the show began, but somewhere along the way, their friendship began to fracture.
You have blown this so enormously out of proportion. You have told strangers, you have told Perez Hilton, I mean, the lengths that you've gone to advertise this argument that wasn't even anything enormous to begin with.
It's astounding to me.
It wasn't just one fight, but a lot of little ones over the course of season 3, stemming from Jill's jealousy over Bethenny's increasing fame and fortune, and Jill feeling like Bethenny wasn't there for her anymore when she was dealing with her husband's cancer.
See, Bethenny, if you cared, if you truly were my friend, it wouldn't have mattered. As soon as you found out my husband had cancer, all bets are off.
You would have been happy for the things that were going on with me.
But one of the saddest fights was when the two rehashed everything over the phone, from rumors in the press to Bobby's cancer. Their breakup was sad and hard to watch, since it was clear both women were deeply hurt but unable to express themselves.
I didn't realize your husband was that ill.
Which is a whole other story, because I can't believe if your husband was that ill that you were running around behaving that way.
Okay, well, you know what, Bethenny? We are done. Have a nice day.
Number 3, Ramona Singer versus Jill Zarin.
So I just want to say, I came here to
No, but you
tell
did.
you how
You
I
didn't
feel.
say you didn't
It's
say
not about you. No, but it's about how I feel.
On any Housewives franchise, vacations tend to bring out the worst in people. The New York ladies were no exception to this rule when the season 4 trip to Morocco caused one of the wildest arguments the franchise has ever seen.
She was down the block. You know what? I have a fight with someone, I show up their freaking door. I send flowers.
The fight started when Ramona and Jill disagreed about how Jill was handling her disintegrating relationship with Bethenny, as well as their own drama from their trip to St. John.
What happened to my friend Ramona? You used to be such a nice girl. And
I
I don't
am
know
nice.
what happened. You've changed.
No, you've changed. Everyone said it.
Jill lashed into Ramona with sharp digs, but Ramona wouldn't back down. The squabble deeply affected Ramona, and we all took a trip on the Ramona coaster when she threw a tantrum on her bed. Number 2, Aviva Drescher versus everyone.
I find it very, very, very hurtful that you don't believe that I have asthma.
Aviva Drescher wasn't on the show for very long, but even though she exited after her second season, she'll never be forgotten. Why? Because of her over-the-top exit.
You say that you have never lied to any of us at the table, and you find us really hurtful. I find that laughable.
After the women confronted her about being fake and only doing things to create drama, Aviva reacted in the most chill, low-key way ever, when she threw her prosthetic leg across the room and said that the only thing fake about her was her leg.
The only thing that is artificial or fake about me.
The whole room was shocked, and even now, it's still hard to make sense of her response.
Everything else is real. I'm gonna vomit.
Okay, everything else is real, girl. Everything else.
It didn't save her job and perfectly accented the point the other women were making.
Heather, why don't you take it? I'll crawl home. Here. Go ahead. Go ahead, Heather. Take it.
Oh my God. Before we unveil our #1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
When I sell Ramona Pinot Grigio and make $100 billion, I'll buy a $40 million house on Ocean Road.
You're giving what they're saying credibility.
Shut the up!
And you came in your Herman Munster shoes.
They're Louis Vuitton shoes, you know?
Well, you know, even Louis Vuitton makes mistakes.
#1, Kelly Bensimon versus Bethenny Frankel.
What is the truth? I want to hear the truth. Be quiet. I want to hear the truth. I want to hear the truth. You can't handle the truth. I can handle the truth.
Bethenny and Kelly have never gotten along. Dating back to season 2, these women had some epic dragouts. But by far, their most dramatic fight was the infamous Scary Island squabble of season 3, while the group was on vacation.
We all think you need to get help. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, because I don't like you.
Kelly ranted and raved. She confronted Bethenny about spreading rumors about her in the press and accused Bethenny of trying to kill her every night.
I feel like you're trying to kill me every night, and I threw up.
She's paranoid.
The night before I came. Because I don't want to be a part of this.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
It was a bizarre accusation, to say the least, and not knowing what else to say, Bethenny then yelled at Kelly to go to sleep. This late-night fight went down in the Housewives Hall of Fame.
Go to sleep! No, don't be mean to her.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Ms. Mojo and subscribe for new videos every day.